All right, everybody, welcome to another Sailing Noodles podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and go ahead and do that now. I try to post, I really need to be doing these once a week. I've been doing it about twice a month or a little bit less, but I'll get on it more and try to do more. It's also available wherever you get your audio podcast. So basically, what I'm talking about today is Burning Man 2024 just happened, and so I kind of want, and I was kind of curious of it myself, is like how much money goes in and out of Burning Man, and so I'm going to talk to you about that. I'm going to answer all the different ways money. So I'm going to answer like how much Burning Man the organization spends every year, how much like I spend every year, and then how much my camp spends every year going, and kind of get you a good idea of what it is. But first, what is Burning Man? I filmed a video about Burning Man in I believe it was 2017, and it can be whatever you want it to be. So, by the way, if you want to watch that, I'll link down in the description where you can watch that video, or you can go to Sailing Doodles and search for Burning Man, and you'll find it there. I've got it playing in the background. If you're watching this, I've got that video playing in the background. If you're just listening, you can check it out on YouTube. But it's a festival in the desert. It has 70,000 attendees, and it's just it's whatever you want it to be. If you want to go about the music, you can have that. It's mostly just EDM, like electronic dance music, stuff like that. There are some bands that play there, but not a whole lot. And then, but there's a lot of art there. There's like TED Talks. Sure, it has a connotation for sex and drugs and all that stuff. You can find all that there if you want, but that's not what it's necessarily about. It's whatever you want to make it into. So, it's a week long. It always ends on Labor Day, the first Monday of September, and it's out there in the middle of the desert. The conditions can be quite rough. It can be hot, it can be cold. Last year it rained. I made some videos about that, and when it rains, it's on an old dry lake bed, so I mean you just basically can't move. It turns to mud. And you're kind of stuck there. That's what we did. It started raining on Friday, and we couldn't leave till Monday. The media way overhyped it. They said it was, everybody was running out of food and water. No. I mean, we're planning to be there for a week. I'll kind of go over some of our stuff there, but so the first time I ever went to Burning Man, I rode around on my bike, the first night, and I was just baffled by how much money goes into this, because like burningman.org or Burning Man org organization. So it only became a nonprofit a few years ago, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Up until then, it was technically, I mean, although they did operate it kind of as a nonprofit, a for-profit organization. There's still so much money that goes into it. You got 70,000 people there. So the tickets now are $575 per person. And then, but you need a vehicle pass. That's $150. So plus all the, the ticketing fees and the shipping and all that stuff, it ends up being for two people, it's about $1,500. And that's just your tickets, right? That's not including all the other stuff that we spend to get there. So I take my RV there. So, you can camp. Like half of our camp stays in tents, half of our camp stays in RVs. So it's whatever you want to spend on that, but you would need to have some kind of tent or something like that. But what we do is, this last year we had 29 people, and we have a shade structure that covers the tents. We have a 500-gallon water tank delivered. We have a 500-gallon waste tank delivered, so not like a gray water tank, not for human waste. It'd be more like for dishwater and shower water and things like that, so that we can have somewhere to dump the water. We also have a porta potty delivered, and then we have our so that the whole camp can use that. Then it has to be serviced all the time. And then we have generators that we bring ourselves. Some camps bring in professional generators. We just bring in our own, like gas powered ones. And we bring like 3 of those. Each one's about 4,000 watts. They're the quiet ones. And it does pretty well. Actually, we ended up this year with so much extra gas. I mean, we hardly had to run the generators at all because it was so nice. Nobody ran air conditioners. It was pretty nice. And then what else do we have? So we have the shade structure that covers all the tents. And then we have our bar shade structure So we have a bar set up, and you can come to our bar. Our bar is open 3 to 4 hours a day, depending on the day, and it's not like we don't charge. So that's the whole thing about Burning Man. In order to get a camp placement, you have to contribute something to Burning Man, right? So you have to, like, we have a bar and we have a DJ set up and we have a light show and we have a double decker dome and all that. So that's all free for anybody in all of Burning Man to use. If you come up to our bar, like this year, we got a frozen margarita machine. It was pretty expensive margarita machine. It was like $1,200 all in for just the machine. Then we needed all the mixers and all that. And but I mean, heck, when it's 85, 90 degrees out there and hot and you're walking by and somebody says, "Hey, would you like a frozen margarita?" You're like, "Yes, please." But anyway, so you walk up to our bar and it's not like you can order vodka tonic. You walk up to our bar and we're like, "Hey, today we're serving margaritas and we got a non-alcoholic lemonade frozen. What would you like?" And so you come into our bar and it's free. We don't ask for anything in return. You just come up and do it. I mean, we kind of expect that when you have your bar at your place, we go in there, we can get a drink for free. We do have to ID people, because they do send some kind of undercover stuff occasionally in there. We've never experienced that firsthand with any kind of police trying to kind of do that, but we have heard stories of it, and we've had people we've suspected of being maybe possibly law enforcement trying to do some undercover stuff there. But you just got to deal with it. And so all that costs money. Plus, then we have all this equipment, right? We have all the storage units. We have all our boxes packed up with all our gear. We have a water pump. We have all our generators. And then the big thing is bicycles. That takes up so much space because the playa is 3 or 4 miles wide, and it takes it's just open desert. So when you ride around in the middle of the desert, you could walk everywhere, but everybody gets around by bicycle. And so everybody has some bikes they keep out there in the storage unit, and that just takes up so much space. We have a storage unit in Reno specifically for all that stuff, and then all the other gear that we have, the shade structures and the seating and chairs, and we have a kitchen set up. This year somebody brought a pizza oven so that we could make pizzas. It was kind of cool. Like what we would do is you come to our bar, we have one of those Wheel of Fortune, so you spin the Wheel of Fortune, and it might be a spanking, or it might get a shot, or it might be a hug, or it might be whatever. But one of them is pizza delivery. If you land on that Wheel of Fortune as pizza delivery, we only do like 5 or 6 of them a day. But my friend Manny cooks you a pizza and will deliver it to your camp, which is pretty amazing. And so we'll deliver it to you. So that's kind of a fun thing. It's a big, nice, I think it was a Traeger brick, pizza oven. Pretty, legit thing. And so, but all that's free. And then, so there are DJs that come out there and play at camps and all that, but Burning Man doesn't pay any of the DJs. Like this year, I know Diplo was there. They had a Rufus Du Sol, DJ set. There, Carl Cox. There's a bunch of other famous DJs that you would know that go there. Some of them go there maybe to like promote themselves or to maybe play for free, but most of the big names don't. They're actually paid to be there by the camps themselves. So we had 29 people in our camp this year. That's probably a small size camp. I'd say the average size camp is probably 50 to 100 people, and there's camps there that have 300, 400, maybe 500 people in their camp. I wouldn't want to be in a camp that big. That just trying to, handle all the bureaucracy that goes with a camp that big. I wouldn't want to do it. Everybody from that. So we have camp dues. I'll kind of get more to how much we spend and everything in just a minute, but like we have camp dues that everybody has to pay. So I'm sure like some of those camps that have 300 or 400, 500 people in them, maybe they each have to pay $100 towards the DJ fee, right? So the DJ may charge. I mean, some of these high end, like Carl Cox, I'm just guessing here. I have no idea how much he charges, but he probably wants 30, 40 grand to go play. And so like that camp will pay Carl Cox to come out there and play. And it's crazy too. That guy played so many different places. He played 2 or 3 different places, and he's like, I think Carl Cox is like 63 years old and still just banging all night records. I'm like, wow. Anyway, this guy's a legend. He's one of the original, like back in the day, like big name DJs for that. And then all the art and everything that's out there. Yeah, Burning Man, the organization does kind of commission some art there. They help fund it and everything. But most of the art that's out there that's built is funded by, the camps. And, like all the art structures that you see are built by the camps themselves and funded by the camps. Sometimes they do fundraisers and all that. Sometimes just part of the camp dues, and they take forever to build too. I mean, some of these structures are not, let me see if I can find one on this video. I don't know. I'm kind of skip ahead, but there's the art cars and stuff. Let's see if I can get to the art on this. Let's see. No, I don't know. All right. Anyway, but some of this stuff is pretty crazy. It's out there in the middle of nowhere, and there's art cars and things. So these art cars are basically mutant vehicles. They have a Department of Mutant Vehicles, the DMV, that kind of regulates the vehicles. And you'll see a pirate ship driving down there. You see a stapler. You'll see a yacht, like a literal, there's like a 70, 80-foot yacht that goes out there. It's on wheels, obviously. They put it on wheels. But it's crazy, some of these art cars that you'll see out there. And all that is paid for by the attendees themselves, not Burning Man. And so that's one thing I'd love to know, like how much money is spent by the festival goers themselves total. It's got to be in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars every year. How much money is spent by the, not just that. So it's a pretty amazing. You see this, I don't know if you're watching right now, you'll see a yacht out there. It's a literal yacht. There's been a 747 out there that one year it was just a static thing. And then the next year they had it on wheels. They're pulling it around. It's pretty amazing that they can do all this stuff. And it just baffles me. So, there's a lot of money that goes into it. And so, but now because Burning Man, the organization is, they are a nonprofit. So now they have to make all their financials public, right? And so I have a copy of their tax return from, what year is this one? I think 2019, because I couldn't get the one for 23 yet. I don't know if it's been made public yet. And then or 22, maybe, whatever, I don't know. But then, so 2020 and 2021, they had those available, but those were COVID years. They didn't do anything. I couldn't find the one for 22 or 23, but, so I found 2019, so I'll show you that one. And, so you can see their gross receipts is nearly $48 million. Pretty crazy. And then if you look at their contributions, they donated $2 million to, I'm guessing that's probably to like art and stuff, art installations that they helped fund or something, some kind of whatever they did. But if you look at their salaries, which is pretty crazy to me, almost $19 million in salaries. So yeah, it's a nonprofit, but the people running that thing are making some serious cash. Like, I don't know how many people actually work for the organization, but if they're each making $100,000, there's no way they have almost 200 people employed making $100,000 a piece. The CEO or whoever's running that thing has got to be making millions, right? I mean, that's just the way it goes. The salary for the CEO gets their golden parachute or whatever, and that guy's making $4 or $5 million a year, and then you got your department heads and your VPs all making a couple $1 million. So there's a lot of money that goes into that. But so if you look at their expenses, other expenses, I'm not sure what that would be, 25 million. And then, so then you can see, they try to spend as much money as they make. So it says they only revenue less expenses. So that says in 2019, they only made $350,000. As a nonprofit, when your, funding is $48 million, I guess that works out. But, it's just crazy how much money is in there. And then I'd like to know, honestly, how they're doing financially, because 2020 and 2021, they didn't have an official Burning Man. There were some what they call renegade burns out there that they just showed up out there because it's held on the Bureau of Land Management. And so one thing I know that Burning Man has to pay for is they have to get a permit from the Bureau of Land Management. I believe that's around $5 million last time I looked. So it's some serious cash just for that. And then all their other expenditures, they have to build the infrastructure and they have to do all these things. And I mean, I'm sure it's very expensive, but they're still paying they're paying salaries at $19 million. So, I don't know. But what was I going with that? But I don't know. So, just a ton of money. And when you consider, you've got, 70,000 people each paying almost $600. Your income's there. Plus, then I'm sure a lot of the vendors have to pay a portion. Like so you can't really buy anything. Well, you can buy anything. You're not. It's not supposed to be a. So like when I said our bar was free, right? You're not. There's certain things you can buy. The only things you can buy are ice. You can have water delivered. You can have your sewage pumped out, like your RV. You can have gas and diesel delivered. You can have a porta potty delivered, and I think maybe there's some places, like Center Camp, they might sell coffee and stuff like that. But there's plenty of places where you can get free coffee. Used to be back in the day, there was nothing, right? You had to be totally self-reliant. You had to bring in everything you needed, and now they have on-site services that handle some of these things. But it's not like they're not selling hot dogs, they're not selling burgers, they're not selling beer, so they're not making revenue on that. But I'm sure they do charge. I'm sure they do take a pretty big percentage from the on-site services people, because like when I have my RV pumped out, it's $95. So to have my RV pumped out, $95. To have, water is, I believe, $2 a gallon. So like I forget how much I'll show you in a minute. I have the stuff here itemized. But, say we have our 500-gallon water tank delivered. If we need more water, which we did, we had to get an extra 50 gallons this year. We paid $100 for those 50 gallons to add it to the water tank because we were running low. So it's not like they actually charge for anything, but they still make a good amount of money. All right, so let's see here. I will show you. So our camp of 29 people, we normally range from 20 to 30 people. This year was kind of a lot bigger year, 29. I kind of like that number because you can get to know everybody on the camp and you become friends with them. It's a lot of the same people every year. I've been 10 years now total. My first year was like 2013. They didn't have it for 2 years, plus I missed a year. So I guess this was my 9th year, I believe. So I know pretty much everybody in our camp. I mean, there's new people that come and go. There's a few new people this year, but most people are repeats. So I will show you our I meant to get rid of that thing. Sorry. Let me move that out of the way. All right. So this is our totals that we spent this year. This was our running total. Maybe there's some stuff that hasn't been put in there yet, but you can see our biggest expense. So we do have to have a rental truck that delivers. So we have a storage unit. You can see the next item is storage. So almost $3,200 in storage. But we have to get all that stuff from storage to the playa, to Burning Man. And so that's almost $3,400. Those are our two biggest expenses. And then you can see toilet and gray water. So I think that includes regular water too. Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. So toilet and gray water. So we have a porta potty delivered, and then we have a gray water tank delivered. So that's almost $3,000 to have that done. But I will say, like, it's totally worth it having our own porta potty, because the porta potties that are out on playa are disgusting. I mean, absolutely gross, especially in the middle of the night, because you got a lot of people that are kind of messed up and they can't see. It's dark as hell. There's no lights in a porta potty, and their aim may not be so good, and it's pretty gross, and they're smelly and nasty. So we have our own delivered, and it's serviced every day. So we have a clean porta potty that's able to be used by our whole camp, and definitely worth it. And so, we're paying almost $3,000 for that. Infrastructure, that would be things like shade structures and, chairs and, lighting, things like that. Maybe even like DJ speakers and stuff like that we have, so this year we did some upgrades. We had some broken parts from last year when it rained, so we had to replace some of the stuff. So, pretty big expense there. And then bar. So that would be like our booze. So we have, we have our bar, right? So we had a margarita machine this year, and so all the booze for that, and so the margarita machine was actually gifted to our camp by me. I've been trying to get them to do margarita machine forever. They didn't want to pay the expense. They're like, it's just not worth it. It's not going to work out there. Nobody's going to use it. And I'm like, guys, trust me, it's going to work. And they're like, So I'm like, all right, fine. I bought it. I brought it out there, donated it to the camp, and it was a hit. I mean, like we had to make so many extra batches, and now we're talking about getting a second one, because we only had like 2 4-gallon hoppers on the margarita machine. And it's hot out there. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes for everything to freeze up. And so when we'd run out, we'd put more in, but sometimes, we run out of both sides and then we don't have anything frozen. So they're talking about getting another one for next year. But so that, so the bar would be, that's just alcohol that we buy. So like that's, you know, so and beer and all that. So we have beer for the camp, and then we have, wine and stuff like that for the camp. Then we have the stuff for the public bar delivered out there, and then water. So that's our 500-gallon water tank plus then the 500 gallons. So at $2 a gallon, there's $1,000 plus. Then they probably charge $230 to have the tank delivered out there. Music and decor. Okay, so that would be the speakers and the lighting that I talked about earlier. So infrastructure was some other things. I'm not sure. I have an itemized thing. I can go for it. So then, like I said, things you can buy every year is ice. So we go buy, probably close to $100 of ice a day. So they have 3 different camps out there, or it's provided by Burning Man, that actually sell ice. And so we have to have ice for our bar, right? Even though the margarita machine makes the ice, we still need to have stuff cooled down and all that. And, for a beer and all the other drinks and all that. So we have that out there. And then trash. So trash, they don't take trash out there, but we accumulate quite a bit of trash throughout the week, and then we camp that out with us. So we hike that out with us. We put it in the truck when we leave, and then we have to pay a fee to get rid of that trash, because that's just, you have to pay a fee for it, right? And they charge like $10 a bag. So I don't know how many bags. I guess we had 225 bags of trash, which probably isn't right. Sometimes we throw away bicycles and stuff like that. They charge a bit more, so it's hard to say. Camp food, I don't even know why that's a thing. Maybe somebody bought some, and just, I don't know why that's there. Because we really shouldn't have any camp food. Everybody's supposed to do their own food. We used to do, kind of like somebody would cook every day, but it got so difficult because so many people were vegan or vegetarian, or they didn't eat this, they didn't eat seafood, they didn't whatever. So then everybody's just cooking for themselves. So anyway, I don't know why we have $170 in there. And then bikes. Everybody's supposed to bring their own bikes, but we still get some repair stuff. So we get some chain lube and things to fix bikes out there, because if your bike breaks down, you're kind of screwed. And then I guess that's all right there. Let me take a look at the itemized thing here. Well, I can't really see that on my screen. Let me see if I can bring it up somewhere else where I can see it a little better. Let's see here. So, itemized, you can see, LED lights and storage and alcohol and mixers and all that stuff. Yeah, so we've really talked about all that stuff. We had to get gas for the truck and all that stuff. We had a coffee. Yeah, we had coffee this year, so maybe that's what they included as the bar stuff, or as the food. And then we have to do, certain safety things like have a fire blanket and all that stuff. So that stuff's listed on there. But I think we spent a total of, let's see here, almost $16,000. So divided by 29 people, we're just over $500. I want to say it's like $550, $540 per person. So Amanda and I went. So that would be, just call it $1,200 in camp dues for the year, plus then $1,500 in tickets. So we're looking at, we're looking at, what I say, $1,200 and $1,500. So we're looking at $2,700. Yeah, $2,700 right there. And then, the gasoline for my RV to get all the way there and back. Plus then we stayed in an RV park a few days. So, really it's $5,000 any way you look at it for 2 people to go there. And I'd say that's probably on the average, if not low. We had, it's pretty frowned upon. They're not really supposed to do this, but so we had friends this year that they didn't want to bring their RV because it is kind of hard on RV. So they rented an RV out of Dallas and drove it, right? But they rented it out of Dallas and drove 20-something hours there and 20-something hours back. And so they rented an RV for 3 weeks, a nice big diesel pusher. I want to say they rented it for $9,000, so $3,000 a week. But they split it among like 6 people. So it wasn't that bad. It was, $1,500 a person at that point for the RV. But there are companies that specialize in handling stuff for, well, I wouldn't say turnkey camps. This is not really, So what Burning Man doesn't want to happen is they don't want people to pay $20,000, $30,000 just to show up and all their stuff set up. They have their RV already there. They have a yurt, or they have an air conditioned thing, and they have a chef and all that stuff. They don't really do anything. They don't build anything. It does happen. There are camps that do that. They don't they don't really build anything. The people that go there, they just pay extra, or they have to pay, or whatever. They can't get rid of all that, but Burning Man doesn't really want that. It's kind of against the principles of Burning Man. But so like my friends reached out to this Burning Man RV place that, to see about renting an RV out of Reno rather than having to drive, because it's only about a 2-hour drive from Reno. Um, but right, instead of having to rent an RV out of Dallas and drive all that way. But then when they called the Reno RV people, they wanted $40,000 for the 10 days. So yeah, crazy. I mean, the same RV basically that they rented in Dallas for $9,000 for 3 weeks, they would have got for a week and a half for $40,000. So obviously they said no to that, obviously. But I will say, like this year, so they called like that RV people and had them on their list or whatever, and called them back like 2 weeks before Burning Man and said, "Hey, yeah, how about 20 grand? We'll drop the price to 20 grand if you want to do it." And they already had their other RV, and they were like, I'm not going to pay double anyway. So, but the reason is because like this year, they didn't sell it, but this is the first year in something like 15 years or more that Burning Man hasn't sold out. Normally, it's pretty hard to get tickets. I remember last year, like they sold out, but a lot of people buy tickets with the intent to scalp them. Because their face value is $575, and they can scalp them for 2 or 3 times that or more. And it's hard to get tickets because you got to get in the lottery. So if you're an established camp like ourselves, we actually have an allotment of tickets this year. I think they allotted us like 20 some odd tickets, and then that we had to use for our own camp, which we did. And then we had several people get in the. It's just like a lottery, so you sign up and you get online at a certain time, and then they sell you tickets or whatever. But we ended up getting another 10 tickets that way, and so we ended up having enough tickets. We actually had an extra ticket. We ended up, I think somebody sold it at face value though. They sold it to somebody else at face value. But so a lot of the, I remember getting emails like a month before Burning Man started from Burning Man saying, "Hey, by the way, do you still need tickets? You can buy up to 4 tickets online now." And I know that like when we went to Reno, we went to some of these like costume shops just to kind of do shopping, and they had signs in the window saying, "We sell Burning Man. We have Burning Man tickets." So Burning Man did not sell out this year. I don't know what that means for the festival itself. Is it because maybe the economy's kind of looking downward and nobody wants to spend that $3,000 a person to go, or minimum to go? I mean, you can go for less, but most people don't. Or is it that maybe because of last year's kind of debacle with the weather, people are kind of scared of it? Or is it, maybe just, I mean, the festival itself is not as attractive as it used to be. I will notice, like, I have noticed that the demographic is much older than when I first started going. When I started going, 13 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I want to say it was a much younger crowd. Now, I mean, I'd say the average age has to be maybe even in the 40s. You know what I mean? So like Gen Z and what's the other one? The millennials and all that just aren't going. And maybe it's just culturally it's a different thing. Maybe people aren't going. So I'd be interested to see. Burning Man didn't sell out, and if you look at their tax return, it says they made total fund. Let's see here. It says they revenue less expenses. Says they made $350,000 in 2019. It says they made like $3 million in 2018, but in 2020 they didn't make any money. In 2021 they didn't make any money. Well, they did in 2020. So they sold tickets in 2020, and they probably sold quite a few. They did refund tickets if you asked for it, but they said, "Hey, look, if you don't ask for a refund and you let us keep the money you paid, we'll give you guaranteed tickets not give. You will let you buy guaranteed tickets for the next year. So I mean, I did. I was like, okay, I'll donate it to. Well, I had already bought tickets for 2020, and then COVID happened, right? Um, and So, and then they didn't have it in 2021, so they didn't even sell tickets in 2021. So they went 2 years, and like they're making $18 million in salaries, $19 million in salaries, and then they went 2 years without earning really any income. That's got to hurt, right? And then they had 2022 and 2023, and then this year didn't sell out. Are they making money? Are they losing money? Like, how bad is that going to hurt them? So I've always often wondered, like, hey, at some point maybe burningman.org loses enough money, they decide not to have this thing anymore. I've always been I don't know. My friend, one of my friends from Burning Man, I'm not going to name names or anything like that. He always says that he expects it at some year they'll probably close it down because it's a bunch of people just getting messed up in the desert, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, so that I mean. There's just it just baffles me how much money goes on out there. And then if you're watching the video right now, you get these giant dust storms. Like this one here was pretty amazing to me. I got one on film, and the dust storms get so bad. This year it was not very dusty at all, though. It was pretty nice. I heard, because we always leave on Sunday morning, but I heard that if you stayed through Sunday night, because it does end on Sunday night, that that the dust storm was pretty bad leaving. And you can see on the video now, the dust just starts rolling in, and then it gets so bad you cannot see anything, not even the hand in front of your face. So you just have to sit there and wait it out. And so it can be pretty bad. And then if you get caught out there and you're in the middle of the playa, so out there in the middle, like not in your camp or something like that, you come back and you are absolutely covered in dust. Like you look white because it's this really fine, alkaline dust that that just gets everywhere. You can't get rid. I mean, it's like any clothes or shoes you take out there. I mean, you can wash clothes maybe and get those, but if you're taking shoes or something out there, some kind of equipment, you're never getting all that dust out of there. And it's an alkaline dust. It's kind of corrosive. So like, it'll eventually kind of, that's why any equipment we take out there only, we have to clean it really good afterwards, or if we leave it in storage for too long, it lasts like 4 or 5 years. But anyway, so it's just, and then if the rain happens, you're just stuck because it's such a fine, like silty. It's like, I don't know. You can't, once it rains, it gets a little bit wet. It cakes on, and you can't get rid of it. You can't ride your bike. You can't walk because in 2 seconds of walking, you have 10 pounds of mud on your shoes. So you just can't do it. But so that is, hey, Burning Man, you can go a lot more in depth on this stuff. Like I said, I'd like to see, maybe ChatGPT. Well, I'm going to look this up right quick here. Maybe ChatGPT will tell me how much. All right, I'm going to ask ChatGPT, how much do the festival goers spend in total to go to Burning Man? Let's see if ChatGPT tells me anything. Searching. I use ChatGPT a lot, actually. Says most people spend $2,500 to $10,000 per person. How much would that be in total for all the festival goers in 1 year? Let's see if it'll give me an answer. All right, still searching. Must be a tough one for it. Okay, yeah, I know it's 100. It says 105 to 140 million dollars every year. That's how much. So that's not how much Burning Man earns. That's how much people spend to go to Burning Man, including ticket sales and all that stuff, and money. $48 million that goes to Burning Man. My lips are chapped. Need to get some chapstick. So 105 to 140 million dollars. That's how much spent on there. And it actually, I mean, like what's it, 2 years ago, there was some climate protesters there kind of protesting that, how bad 70,000 people spending $150 million to go to the desert for a week is, and their ecological footprint. It's pretty crazy. But I mean, I guess I understand what they're saying, but I mean, come on. I mean, like, okay, go protest a NFL game too. It's the same thing, right? People spending a lot of money to go to that. But anyway, so that is my thoughts on how much Burning Man costs. Thank you for sticking around for this long in the video. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel. It's separate than Sailing Doodles. This is the Sailing Doodles podcast. And, if we get enough people subscribe to it, I'll do these more often. It's kind of one of those things. If you subscribe, you like the video, and the video does well, and it incentivizes me and encourages me to do more. So if you like this kind of content, please click like, please subscribe. And you know what? If you really like it, become a patron, patreon.com/sailingdoodles. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next podcast.